All right, let's dive right in. Something's going on in the diamond market. It's facing some pretty serious turbulence. So you might want to forget what you think you know, because everything's changing. Prices are shifting, there are huge global pressures, and one of the biggest names in the game is in a state of flex. So let's figure out what's really going on.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is a 6% drop. Now, I know 6% might not sound like a huge deal at first glance, but for the diamond market, which is usually incredibly stable, this is a massive red flag. And get this, that drop happened to some of the most popular, smaller diamonds in just one single month, the month of September. That's a steep, sudden fall that has the entire industry, well, pretty spooked.
So yeah, that brings us to the big question, right? What is behind this falling price of sparkle? I mean, is this just a simple dip in demand, or are there much bigger, more powerful forces at play here? Well, that's what we're going to unpack. We're going to break down the two key factors that are really driving all this uncertainty.
First things first, it is absolutely crucial to understand that not all diamonds are created equal. And right now, they are definitely not performing equally. What we're seeing is the market basically splitting right down the middle. It's truly a tale of two markets.
Okay, so to really see what's happening, we got to look at the data. And when it comes to diamond data, the gold standard is something called the RAPNet Diamond Index, or RAPI for short. You can think of it as kind of like the Dow Jones, but specifically for diamonds. It tracks the prices for the most common, high-quality stones out there.
And this table, wow, it tells a really fascinating story. Just focus on those numbers for September. See the 0.30 and 0.50 carat diamonds? You know, the kind you'd probably find in more everyday, accessible jewelry? Their prices absolutely plummeted by that 6% we just talked about. But then, look over at the larger 3-carat diamonds. The price change? Zero. Nothing. Completely flat. That is the split we're talking about, right there in black and white.
I mean, this just lays out the divide perfectly. On one side, you've got the smaller stones, under a carat. They're facing really weak demand, and those prices are just falling off a cliff. But on the other side, you have the bigger diamonds, and their prices are way more stable, sometimes mixed. In fact, some specific shapes, like ovals or emerald cuts, the industry calls them long fancies, are actually super hot right now. It's like two completely different worlds operating at the exact same time.
And if that wasn't clear enough, this graph just drives the point home. Look at the blue and orange lines. Those are the smaller diamonds, taking a total nosedive through September. And then look at the green and yellow lines for the bigger stones. They're just holding steady. So yeah, this isn't just some minor blip on the radar. This is a dramatic market split, and we're watching it happen in real time.
Okay, so that's the picture of what's happening inside the diamond market. But the big question is, why? What's actually causing this? Well, to answer that, we need to look at the external forces. And we're going to start with what you could call a global squeeze from geopolitical pressures.
And this quote from a RAPAPORT press release really gets right to the heart of the matter. It says the import duties restricted overseas suppliers' sales to the important American retail market. Basically, new U.S. tariffs are making it way harder for suppliers around the world to sell their diamonds in America, which is a huge market. And that creates a massive bottleneck that, you guessed it, directly messes with prices.
And here's the kicker. The problem is that these tariffs aren't even applied evenly across the board, and that's just creating chaos. So, for example, diamonds that are polished in the European Union, they face a 0% tariff, but diamonds coming from India, which is a massive global hub for this stuff, get hit with a staggering 50% rate. 50%! This creates a totally uneven playing field, and it's throwing the entire global supply chain out of whack.
And to make things even more complicated, the situation is constantly in flux. The EU has its zero tariff deal, Botswana is in the middle of negotiating for a similar one, and the White House is apparently thinking about giving exemptions to some other countries. What you end up with is this messy patchwork of rules and never-ending negotiations, which just adds another huge layer of uncertainty for suppliers who are just trying to figure out how to plan for the future.
All right, so that's the whole geopolitical squeeze. Now let's talk about the second major external factor that's rattling the market. And this one is all about the uncertainty swirling around one of the most iconic companies in the industry, De Beers.
I mean, for more than 100 years, De Beers has been an absolute titan in the diamond world. They're a giant. And when a company that big and influential is stable, the whole market feels secure. But when a company like that starts facing major uncertainty, those tremors ripple through the entire supply chain, all the way from the mine right down to the jewelry store.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. De Beers is smack in the middle of this massive transition. The company that owns them, Anglo-American, is in the process of selling. So who's buying? Well, the government of Botswana, which is a huge diamond-producing nation, has thrown its hat in the ring for a majority stake. And at the same time, Angola has put in a bid for a minority holding. It's a lot.
So, what does all this corporate maneuvering actually mean for the market? Well, it's pretty simple. Nobody knows who's going to be in charge of De Beers. And this kind of leadership vacuum makes any kind of long-term planning basically impossible. It just completely shakes confidence across the board. It's like one more giant wave of uncertainty crashing into a market that's already in the middle of a storm.
So let's just pull all this together for a second. Where does this leave us? We've got a market that's split in two, with small diamonds really struggling. We've got a messy geopolitical tariff situation creating a totally uneven playing field. And to top it all off, there's a huge leadership crisis at one of the most important companies in the entire industry. It's a perfect storm.
And all of this brings us to one final, really crucial question. With all these pressures coming from all sides, the diamond industry is at a major crossroads. The old ways of doing things, the old certainties, they're just gone. The question now isn't just about price anymore. It's about the entire structure of the market itself. So, amidst all this global pressure and uncertainty, can the diamond industry find a new way to shine? Can it navigate this perfect storm and redefine itself for a new era? Honestly, the answer to that question is going to shape the future of one of the world's most iconic luxury goods.